Okay guys, this is in Schoology. This is a review for tomorrow's test, and the test is going to look almost exactly like the review, like it always does. Okay, so you guys have to pay attention and ask questions and try your hardest today like it was the test, and let me know which ones you don't know how to do so that tomorrow you'll be able to know how to do them. Problem number 1 can be done by hand or in Desmos. If you want to do it by hand, we're just adding. So that means combine like terms. This one, you're going to add it with this one. The 3t, you're going to add it with the 7t, so just add them. And the 8, you're going to add with the negative 14. Or if you don't like that, then just put the whole thing in Desmos. All of this in Desmos. Change the t's to x's. Okay, just change them to x's. And then put all of these answers in Desmos. Okay, and see which one is equivalent. That means the same. So it has to be one on top of the other. So pause the video, go ahead and do that, and click your correct answer and go to the next one. Okay, so you should have, you should have done that one already. And we're going to move on to problem number 2. So click next. This one, you're going to do the same thing. So if you want to put the whole thing in Desmos, you have to put parentheses plus parentheses. All of this can go in Desmos together, all at once. Okay, but it has to be like that. Let me rewrite it because some of you probably don't understand what I'm talking about. You have to put 5 over 2x squared plus 5 over 2, close parentheses, plus, parentheses, 5x squared minus 1/3 x plus 7/4, close parentheses. So all of that would go in Desmos, and all of this would also go in Desmos. Because it says we're combining, and when you combine something, you're really adding them. Okay, if I say we're going to be combining classes with Mr. Reed, that means those kids are coming over here, so they're being added to my class. Okay, combining means you add, so don't forget the symbol in the middle. Okay, if you want to do it by hand, we can do it by hand. All you have to do, you can still use Desmos to be adding them. So I would do 5 over 2 plus 5. So add those in Desmos because both of them have s squared. So 5 over 2 plus 5. You would do it like this. Plus 5. Okay, and change it to a fraction. So I know that my s squared is going to have 15 over 2. So I go back and I look at it. Okay, 15 over 2, well, they all have 15 over 2 s squared, right? Then I'm going to add, well, actually, this one's by itself because it's the only one that has an s. So you look right here, the only two that have minus 1/3 are these two. So it cannot be C and it cannot be D. And then lastly, you're going to add this one plus this one in Desmos and hit the fraction button. That's going to give you either 3/4 or 17 over 4. So pause the video, do it whichever way you want to do it, and get the answer going. Problem number 3, same thing. If you want to do it by hand, this is a 2 by 2. You are multiplying. There's no symbol in the middle. So you would do the box, right? And you would put 4w minus 11 on one side and w plus 3 on the other side. Multiply everything in and add the diagonals. That will give you the answer, okay? You can also put it in Desmos. If you put all of this together just like that in Desmos and all the answers in Desmos, See which one is equivalent. That means the same. Okay? That will give you the answer. So pause the video, work that one out. We're going to do this one the same way. You can type the whole thing in Desmos, type the answer choices in Desmos, and see which one's equivalent. It's going to look a little bit weird, but that's okay. It's the one that's the same. All right? If you want to do it by hand, this is a 2 by 3. 1, 2, 3. So you would do the box that's a 2 by 3. Okay? You would put the thing with two sides. The side with two things, you would put this, negative 3n plus 2, and on the top you would put the one with three things, which is n squared plus 8n minus 3. And you remember that the diagonals, you're going to have to add those. Okay? So pause the video and work on that one right now. Okay, this one, you're going to have to do it by hand, okay, because there's no answer choices. So you cannot put this in Desmos. We're going to have to do the box. It's a 2 by 2 box, okay, because they're asking for this b. Whatever that is, whatever that number is, that's what they're asking for, the value of b. So we're going to start multiplying 3x plus 9 times x minus 6, and we're going to add the diagonals, and that's going to give me the answer for B. Okay? So pause the video, start working that out, and let's see if you get the correct answer. You should have paused the video and worked this out so that you're not just copying my answer. What's 3x times x? 3x squared. What's 3x times negative 6? Negative 18x. What's 9 times x? Positive 9x. And what's 9 times negative 6? Negative 54. Okay? When I add these two in Desmos, what does it give you? Right here. 9 plus negative 18 gives you a negative 9. So your B is a negative 9. So it's 3x squared minus 9x minus 54. And they're only asking for that B. So right here you would just put negative 9, no x. Okay, no x. Let's go to the next one. A lot of you are going to have trouble with this one. Here we go. Question 6. The diagram below shows the area of a circular garden. All dimensions are given in feet. So they're giving you the R. That's called R because it's the radius. Okay? And when I look for the area, they already gave you the formula, A equals pi r squared. So this is my R, so it's going to go right there where that R is. So when I rewrite it, cuando lo escribes otra vez, is A equals pi r squared. Pi r squared. So my R is going to go in here, which is 3x to the 4th power, y to the 7th power. So we're going to have to use the properties of exponents, okay, right here. And if it's a power to another power, you multiply them. Okay, so we're going to have to raise something to another power. So let's go back. This 2 is going to multiply by the 4, and it's going to multiply by that 7. And the 2 is going to go to the 3 to the 2nd power. So when I rewrite it, it's A equals pi 3 squared. We're going to look right now to see what that gives me in Desmos in the calculator. 3 squared And then we're going to multiply these two. What's 4 times 2? 8. So my x is to the 8th power. What's 7 times 2? 14. So that's y to the 14th power. Okay? What is 3 squared in Desmos? 3 squared. So I'm going to type 3 squared. And that gives me 9. So my answer has to start with 9. It's not 3 times 2. It's 3 squared. Okay? So here, it's not the one that gives me 6. It's the one that gives me 9. And then you have to figure it out. So go ahead and pick your answer and let's move on to the next one. Okay, let's move on to the next problem. Okay, these are exponents, so we're going to be using the same, all of these properties. They're in that blue sheet that's in front of you, okay, and you can use it during the test. These exponents, you're going to multiply that one, and then this 1/2, you're going to multiply it times that one. The 2 is going to also go with the 4. So let's rewrite. It's going to be 4 squared x to the what power? What's 5 times 2? 10 to the 10th power. And then right here, I'm going to have x to what power? 6 times 1/2. If I put it in Desmos, 6 times 1/2 is 3. You just multiply it, okay? So it's to the 3rd power. Then it's 2 things multiplying each other. So when I look at my reference chart, it's going to be this one. 2 things multiplying each other. You add the exponents. So the 10, you're going to add 3 to it. Because I have 10 x's here and 3 x's here. That's 13 x's, right? So that's x to the power of 13. Then you're going to put this one in Desmos. This goes in Desmos because it's 4 times 4. So 4 square is 16. So the number in the front is going to be 16. And make sure that you study that and that you practice using the formula chart for those problems. Let's go to the next one. If you have questions, let me know. Problem number 8, this one is division. And I also told you that we cannot have negative exponents. So those two are going to have to move. Okay, so when I rewrite it, I have 36 on top, 6 on bottom. This one is going to move to the top. So it's x to the 6th power. And this one's going to move to the bottom. So it's x to the 3rd power. And these two are going to stay the same. Y to the 3rd power, y to the 10th power. If you have questions, raise your hand. Okay, so these two are going to divide. You're going to divide. 36 divided by 6. What do you get? 6. Okay? And then these two, let's look at our formula chart. What do you do when it's division? When they're being divided, what do you do with them? You better look at your formula chart. Division, you're going to subtract. Se van a restar. You're going to subtract. So, what's 6 minus 3? 3, right? There's more on top than there is on bottom, so they're on top. And this one, which one has more, the top or the bottom? The bottom has more. How many more? 7 more. This is 10 and this is 3. There's 7 more at the bottom than there is at the top. Okay? So that's how you do that problem. Pause the video and see if you have any questions so you can ask me.